Good evening, everybody. Fine. So, with certain basic concepts, Indian, Western, and overall, we have seen the flair and nature of syllabus. Yesterday, we had a certain basic concepts of Indian philosophy. That is, in Indian philosophy, only there is one issue, that is of moksha, liberation. Fine. And we have seen some of the associated concepts. Liberation from bondage. Bondage is cycle of birth and death. We are trapped into that cycle of birth and death. We want freedom from that. Who is trapped? Soul is trapped. Atma is trapped. Right? Self. You can name, you can give any name. That Atma is trapped, body is perishable. Body is not trapped. Right? And this is where birth, death cycle goes on. This cycle of birth and death is the source of misery, is the source of suffering, sorrow. And this is what is known as Sansar Chakra. We want to have freedom from this Sansar Chakra because this is full of suffering. Is that fine? We, out of ignorance, perform certain actions which leads to the accumulation of fruits. It doesn't matter whether we are doing good action or bad action. Good will lead to good fruits and bad action will lead to bad fruits, but accumulation will be there. And as long as that bag is having fruits, I have to come in this world to eat those fruits, because these are my fruits. Isn't it? These fruits have been produced by me. Nobody else can eat those fruits of mine. ऐसा थोड़ी होगा, करे कोई भरे कोई. It is not like that. As you saw, as you read, even if one fruit remains in that bag, so I have to come again. But the issue is that since I am ignorant, on one hand, I am doing action out of ignorance. On the other hand, though, I am reaping fruits. My living in this world is nothing but the reaping fruits. So, eating fruits, further accumulating. And this is vicious circle. If I want to come out of this vicious circle, then I have to identify the root cause of this circle. And root cause is ignorance. And ignorance will be removed by knowledge. Ignorance will be removed by right knowledge. And who will tell me right knowledge? Now we have different schools. Jainas will say, according to me, right knowledge is this. You just imagine you went there, you heard something, and then it did not appeal to you. You said, no, yaar, I did not like. This is not the right knowledge. Feel liya hai mujhe. Right? Then another school, Buddhism, he says, right knowledge according to me is this. You heard him, you liked, yeah, I like this. Of course, then you are follower of Buddha. Then you are Buddhist. So somebody likes Jainas, somebody likes Sankhya, somebody likes Nyaya Vasishtha. Isn't it? But everybody is laying down pathways and means to remove ignorance. And according to them, they are telling us what is right knowledge. Because it is the right knowledge only that will remove ignorance. Is that fine? So different schools will be enumerating their right knowledge according to their mindset. And this is what we need to study. Fine? Now, with this background, our first chapter, first school is Jainism. First school we will take up will be Jainism. Real founder of Jainism is Mahavir. Right? But Mahavir has been 24th Tirthankar. He was 24th, the last Tirthankar. though he is considered as real founder. Isn't it? Some basic detail we will discuss, though it is not required as far as philosophy is concerned. But we need to have some kind of background because Jainism and Buddhism are of, very popular schools. Who was 23rd? Parshavnath. Parshavnath was the 23rd Tirthankar. And who was the first? Rishabdev. We have Rishabdev. So this is first, and 1 to 22, we see that they have some obscure origin. Historical fact we don't know. But once we come to 23rd Tirthankar, Parshavnath, then we know that he belongs to one particular dynasty. Isn't it? Which place? No? Banaras. Right? And now we have the proper about Vardhaman, popularly known as Mahavir. So these are the 24 Tirthankaras. Right? What is Tirthankar? Who are Tirthankaras? Tirthankaras are the spiritual teachers. They are the religious teachers. They are fit to guide us for liberation. Right? So, these are the Tirthankaras. Mahavir again belongs to royal dynasty. You will be surprised to know that all 23 belong to royal dynasty. Buddha was royal Kshatriya. Other philosophers were also Kshatriyas. Isn't it? So is it a coincidence that all Kshatriyas have been becoming philosophers? It can't be coincidence, no. All the 24 Tirthankaras, Buddha was Kshatriya, other philosophers were also Kshatriya. That does not fall in our domain, but just out of interest, there were some problem in then society. There must be some issues between Varna system, within Varna system. Or specifically there might be some issue between Brahmin and Kshatriya. Second more important thing is that all these philosophers, especially Mahavir and Buddha, they belong to republic. In the foothills of Himalayas, छोटी-छोटी republics stay. They are belonging to that. It is also not coincidence. There must be some specific reason behind that. What? 6th century BC was the era of state formation. It was the era of formation of Mahajanpadas. And Mahajanpadas means capturing, conquering smaller ones. Right? So there was, for them, there was threat for their survival. So it was a kind of reaction to the prevailing condition. Anyway, Tirthankaras were the religious teachers. Once Mahavir attains the right knowledge, then he is known as Jinn. That means conqueror. Conqueror of what? Ignorance. And conqueror of his self, yes, his senses, his self. He conquered his self. That means those passions which we had seen out of ignorance comes, ignorance and greed and pride, that all have been gone. And this is where he is a conqueror. And from this word, a word has been derived. Follower of Mahavir are known as then Jaina. Mahavir, Vardhaman Mahavir, belonged to a royal family. He was married, had a daughter, but his interest was somewhere else. He wanted to find out the truth, and this is where he left his home in the search of that. And after many years of wandering, finally he got enlightenment. That is, he got Kevalya Gyan. And now this he is known as Jinn. And now ignorance has gone. Now he has right knowledge. But did he die? After attaining Kevalya Gyan, did he die? Immediately? No, isn't it? It is only after attaining knowledge then he taught people. Isn't it? Now, whatever action he is doing, those actions will now not lead to further accumulation. Isn't it? Because he is doing those actions not out of ignorance. Now, those actions are from right knowledge. But what about those which are already lying in the back, those previous karmas? He has to read, and this is where he'll continue to exist. Through, basic detail, brief detail, though it is not required in this paper, but fine. Now, let us see what is the philosophy of Jainism. The philosophical system of Jainism. It's very simple. And the entire philosophical system of Jainism can be explained by one simple example. And that example we are seeing right from our childhood. If you understand that example, which you are knowing already, you understand Jaina's philosophy. A very short, very small example. That example is an elephant interpreted by different blinds. I think we have seen that, this example. Long back, it used to be very regular feature on the Doordarshan. I hope you know what is Doordarshan. Great. Right? So, elephant would be interpreted differently by different blinds. Blind means he cannot see the thing. One blind goes to elephant and he touches the feet, legs of elephant. And he shouts, elephant is like pillar. Another blind touches the stomach. He feels it and says, no, yaar. Why is he saying elephant is like pillar? I feel elephant is like wall. Another person touches tail. He immediately shouts, don't you know such a small thing? Elephant is not like pillar. Elephant is not like wall. Elephant is like a rope. Isn't it? Another person shouts and he says, all of you are fools. You're so ignorant people. You don't know such a small thing. That elephant is like fan. He touches the ear. In villages we have that, plan by hand-driven leg. Isn't it? So elephant is like fan. Another person says, elephant is like a snake, python. Right? And the best part is, each blind is interpreting elephant in his own way and considers his view as the complete and absolute, and all other views as false. And all these blinds are now fighting with each other. Isn't it? All these blinds are now fighting with each other, mistaking their partial knowledge as complete. Why they are fighting? He says elephant is like a pillar. And he's shouting, what nonsense, what crap. Elephant is like wall. Another person says something. And all these blinds are now fighting with each other. Got it? But a person who can see elephant as a whole, one who has eyes, he sees the elephant as a whole, and he sees these blinds are fighting with each other, and he laughs on them, he smiles on them, and he says, the poor chap, they are fighting with each other unnecessarily. There is no reason for them to fight, but still they are fighting, because elephant is like pillar, wall, rope, python, a fan. Still, these blinds are fighting with each other. Because he sees the elephant as a whole. This is one small example. Have you understood this? If you have understood, then this is what the Jainism philosophy is. Now we would be giving you, they would be giving and we will be seeing now terminology. Basic concept has come. In another 2 classes, we would be discussing only this and nothing else. The only difference is now we will have names of some terminologies, theories, and all that, more examples, something like that. Is that fine? Blind here represent whom? We are. We are like blind. Blind means ignorance. And we are ignorant souls. And we are like blind. And we are fighting with each other. Considering, understanding my knowledge as complete, whole, absolute. And consider others' knowledge as false. And this is how we start fighting with each other. And this is how the source of all misery, conflict. Who is that person who can see the elephant as a whole?
Who has right knowledge.
Who has the right knowledge? Perhaps you can say Tirthankar. He is seeing the elephant as a whole. Means that person is not afflicted with ignorance. Isn't it? This is how Jainism philosophy is. Now, they further proceed. And now Jainism says that in this world, okay, this board is made up of atoms. How many atoms are there? How many atoms are there in this world? Infinite. Done. In this room itself, how many atoms are there? Infinite. So now Jainism says that in this world there are innumerable material atoms, infinite material atoms, and there are innumerable individual souls. Jainism says that there are in this world infinite material atoms and infinite individual souls. Soul means here Atma. How many souls are present here? Many souls are there, no. In this world, infinite souls are there. Each of them is separately and individually real. Each atom and each soul is individually and separately real. And further they say that just as elephant has many characteristics, isn't it? Elephant has how many characteristics? There are, here we have discussed only 5. What if there are 10 blinds? 10 characteristics. What about if there are 100 blinds? 100 characteristics. And what if there are infinite blinds? Then elephant would be interpreted in how many ways? Infinite. That means elephant has how many characteristics? Infinite. Now, you see, each atom and each soul has infinite characteristics of its own. Infinite characteristics of its own. Infinite characters are there. Each soul and each atom, just as elephant had infinite characters, Each soul and each atom has infinite characters. अनंत धर्म कम वस्तु, वस्तु के अनंत धर्म है. यहाँ पर धर्म मीन्स characters. One dharma we know, religion. Second dharma we know, we discussed yesterday, code of conduct, how we are supposed to behave in a society. Now here Jainas are giving third definition of dharma. अनंत धर्म कम वस्तु, वस्तु के अनंत धर्म है. Vastu means thing. This is a thing. And this thing has got how many characters? Infinite characters. This theory is known as Anekantvad. Anekantvad. Anek means many. Vad means theory. So this is nothing but theory of manyness of reality. Theory of manyness of reality. This is known as what? Anekantvad. I am also a thing. How many characters I have? Infinite. This pen has infinite characters. This table has infinite characters. A thing has got infinite characters. This theory is simple, known as Anekantvad, theory of manyness of reality. So, however, ordinary beings like us, however, ordinary beings, ordinary people like me, like us, why we are ordinary? Because we are afflicted with ignorance, hence we are ordinary. Or you can say, since we are afflicted with ignorance, we people are trapped into the cycle of birth and death, hence we are ordinary. So ordinary people like us can know only few characters from particular point of view. Just as that blind can know only few characters from his point of view. He is not knowing other characters from other point of view. In the same way, ordinary being like me can know only few characters from particular point of view. Right? Like ordinary being, we can know only few characters. That too from particular point of view. Particular point of view. That means my knowledge is limited. That means my knowledge is limited. That means my knowledge is partial. That means my knowledge is not absolute. Of course, when we say limited and partial, then how can I afford to say that my knowledge is absolute? Hence, my knowledge is relative. This theory is known as Syadvad. This theory is known as Syadvad. Here, Syad means relativity and Vad means theory. So this becomes theory of relativity of knowledge. This becomes theory of relativity of knowledge. Fine. This is known as Syadvad. Don't get confused. They say specifically that Syad does not mean Shayad. Did that any blind said? Did any blind say that elephant is, perhaps it is like wall? Did he use perhaps? No. There is no room for any doubt. There is no room for any kind of skepticism. You understand skepticism? Doubt. In Hindi it is known as Sanshayavadi. Sanshay nahi hai mujhe. I have no doubt. Syad does not mean somehow. Syad does not mean maybe. In some of the books, in old books, they have used the word maybe, somehow. But in those books also, later on they have clarified that this does not mean doubt. They have clarified that. But we will not use those words because it is confusing. It might, leave bad impression. Those are old books. We will follow, the latest research work. So, Syad is not any skepticism. It is not any probability. There is no room for doubt. Each blind is claiming that elephant is like this. Hence, we have said that this is theory of relativity of knowledge. All my knowledge is limited, partial and limited. This theory is known as Syadvad. Is that fine? What they are saying, that makes some sense. Isn't it? They are simply saying that how the reality is too complex. You can't assert anything so absolutely because we are afflicted with ignorance. There is another side of reality. There is another side of point of view. I don't know what is your point of view. So I have no authority to remove or to demolish your point of view or to discard your point of view. I have no authority. If I do, then I commit bad judgment. Then I commit error. Then I commit fallacy. Because the thing has got infinite character. How? I do not understand. If I ask you, what is the color of this board? So what is your reply? Why? Isn't it? If I ask, what is the color of this board? You all will say, it's white. But some of my friends might say, sir, who told you it's white? It's yellow. When we said yellow, and we said, here, what nonsense, this is white. You ask everybody. 99% people are saying it's white and you alone are saying yellow. The point is he wrong? He seems to be wrong. Isn't it? But Jana says, look, reality has infinite characters. You see from his point of view. Why is saying yellow? Perhaps he might be suffering from jaundice. Isn't it? उसको तो yellow ही दिख रहा है ना यार. और उसको ये थोड़ी white दिखाओगे. वो jaundice ठीक होगा तो white देखेगा. Case number one. Another. Nobody is suffering from jaundice. And we ask, what is the color of this board? Then you said, everybody had said white. Perfect. But then I ask you, is it absolute? This white color of board, is it absolute? Absolute means it will be always white. No, because after 2 days, 2 months, 2 years, 20 years, this color would fade away and it will become yellowish. And then I ask you what is the color, then you say, it's a yellowish, it's a black, it's a brown, because its color has faded and something has been destroyed. It's changing now. So is there anything absolute in this world? No. So you have to see other point of view also. It is because of this, Jainas are saying that a thing has got infinite character. We can take more examples. I say that this is the pen. This is the pen. Means I am saying it absolutely. बस ये पेन ही है. पेन ही तो है. This is pen. But a thing has got infinite character. How? The person who is sitting at the back, today he forgot his glasses. and he is not able to see. So nothing is visible to him. And he says, yes, sir, he's saying pen, but I find there is nothing in his hand. Another person sitting from in different corner, light is not falling in proper way. Right? And light is falling in such a way that he sees very shady picture, not clearly seen. Half darkness, something like that. And he says, yeah, there is something in his hand, but I see it. For me, it seems to be a wooden stick. Person who is sitting at the front rows, he can see this pen very well, clearly seen. But perhaps he is coming from such a society, from where such things are not available. Then he says, yeah, I don't know. What is this? I am seeing it for the first time. Another person is coming from a society where in a society such a thing might be used for something else, not as pen. Or he might say, array, this is weapon. We use in our society it as a weapon only. Are you getting? And I say that this is pen. Just tell me, think logically. Is anybody is wrong while interpreting this? Not at all. And if I say that you are wrong, then I commit penalty. Then I commit error. So I can't assert anything? Absolutely. Now see, a thing has got infinite characters. Isn't it? What ordinary being like us can know only few characters from particular point of view. Isn't it? So all my knowledge is partial, relative. Hence Jainas say that you specify whatever you say in your statement, you please specify that this statement is partial, is relative, so that everybody knows that this statement is partial and there could be more interpretation and alternative meaning of this statement. So, Jainas say that all our judgments, all our statements should be qualified by the word syat, or you can say syad, whatever you like. I will use this word, syat. What Jainas are saying? Jainas are saying that whatever you say, you qualify your statement with the word syat. What syat means? Syat means relatively speaking. Relatively speaking. Right? And now, what should I say about this pen? Should I say this is the pen? No, I will say syat, this is pen. Syat does not mean shayad, probability, maybe, somehow, doubt, skepticism. No way. Don't get confused. There is not even a drop of doubt here. I am just saying relatively this is pen. That means from my point of view this is pen. Syat, this is nothing. Syat, this is wooden stick. Syat, XYZ. Syat, weapon. Isn't it? Because infinite characters, but we can know, and hence there are different point of views. So all my judgment will be qualified by the word syat. Is that fine? If I assert anything absolutely, that look, this is the only pen, only laga diya pen, di bhi laga di. That is my absolute assertion. If anybody says, no, forget it, you all are foolish, elephant is like only wall, absolute you had asserted, and that will be known as Durniti. Durniti means bad judgment, invalid judgment, or simply bad judgment. Bad judgment. Whatever I assert in the absolute sense, that absolute saying of anything leads to bad judgment. Because in Jainism, there is nothing absolute. They just can't take, they just, can't stand absolutism. Because they have already said very well, very clearly, that we ordinary beings have only partial knowledge, relative, finite knowledge, limited knowledge. All our knowledge is only from one point of view. But you are claiming as absolute, the Durniti. If I assert anything without specifying whether this is partial or absolute, I say in the first statement, Durniti, this is the only pen, Durniti. In the second statement that I said, this is pen. No absolute assertion, neither I have used Syag. This is known as Nay. This is known as Nay. Nay means Naya. Nay means partial knowledge. It has some different meanings in this school. Judgment based on Nay is also known as Nay. And here we have used Nay for such statements which are neither absolute nor relative. Fine. Now, Nay, in order to become valid judgment, it is invalid judgment, it's a bad judgment. Fine, because it is absolute. This is hanging in between, you can understand in that way. Now, Nay, in order to become valid judgment, what should I do with Nay? Yeah? I will qualify it with? Very good. I will qualify it with Sya, and that will lead to Praman. Right? And Praman is valid judgment. Praman is valid judgment. Is that fine? I have so many times it would be repeated, don't you worry.
So can you give an example of how a statement can be made by using that?
By using Nay.
Yeah.
I told you, this is pen. Now this is not absolute assertion. Neither I have used Sya. So it is, for the sake of understanding, you can feel, here it's in between, it's confusing. Then you will say, then specify, it is absolute or relative. When I say absolute, then I will go back to Durniti. And if I say, no, it is relative, then Praman, valid judgment. Whatever I say about this in this world, whatever I am saying, that all my statements should be qualified by the word Sya. Why? Because reality is too complex. I cannot have the complete knowledge. I don't have. Why? Because I am afflicted with ignorance. Then only I am in this world. No? Yeah, we have partial knowledge from my point of view. But that has some more point of view, which I don't know. Isn't it? It's just like I said this is pen, but you said that this is weapon. But I say, no, you are wrong. This is only pen. Durniti. Because you won't accept no. Will you accept that? No, you won't. Isn't it? So this is how the things are occurring. Yeah, you can say that. Yeah.
So both Syat and Nay are both partial knowledge.
Syat and Syat is relatively speaking. It's a predicate only, right? We use any word, this word to any statement, right? And ne is what the statement is saying, entire thing, isn't it? Yeah, that is also ne.
So what about a statement like this might be a fan? Is it right? According to Jainism?
It will be ne. It will be ne. Now you say this statement, I'm sure that it might be like this, something like that. Then that will be Durniti. And if you say, Syat, it might be like that, it's Praman.
But sir, this Jainism has given this concept by adopting that concept that this is the only way by which you can derive knowledge. Aren't they are making their whole...
No. Who told you that this is the only way
I mean...
to derive knowledge? No, we did not.
But to explain what is true, I mean, from my point of view, I can't see the whole picture.
Yeah.
But I should adopt this methodology, and this is the only methodology by which I can say a true, the true nature of a thing. So by
They did not say this. I am not agreeing with this. It is your interpretation. I have not uttered anything on that. Neither they have. Look, ultimately, this school's purpose is moksha. To attain moksha, I need to understand that I am in bondage. Fine. And once I know that I am in bondage, then I need to know that knowledge which I am considering is not complete. It is partial. And once I know, once I am satisfied, okay, look, my knowledge is partial, then only I will aspire for complete knowledge. So that thing is yet to come. Till now, they are just preparing a background. I told you, just to have the moksha, they need to tell you all that stuff. वो सारी चीजें बतानी होंगी. आप कुछ भी बोलेंगे वो पूछेंगे. जैसे हम कल किया ना हमने. You said moksha. What is moksha? Liberation from what? Bondage. What is bondage? Cycle of birth and death. What is birth and death in this world? Huh? What did you say? World. What is world? World is made up of atoms. Huh? What is atom? तो मोक्ष तो पीछे रह गया नहीं. पहले तो मैं ये समझाऊं कि यार ये है क्या. Once I'll explain everything, then I'll tell you about the that ways and paths and means to have moksha. Isn't it? Yeah.
Can you explain that we have art? Or can you give some other examples on that?
You tell me where you are stuck up. You give me some examples so that I can rectify further. Ne is, I repeat, ne is here, particularly ne here means that a statement which is neither absolute nor relative. I have not specified. Like for example, elephant is like pillar. One statement. Second statement is elephant is like only pillar. And third statement, Syat, elephant is like pillar. You have three statements. Now put these three statements in these three. I hope we are getting. Only one part will go into Durniti. Syat will go into Praman, no issues, no fight, because I have already accepted no. Relatively, elephant is like pillar. It means elephant has some more aspect, which I don't know, but I am agreeing that there are more. Isn't it? And in between, elephant is like pillar, it is ne. It's a partial, but I am not specified it, whether it is absolute or relative. Fine. Okay. Let us come again with some different orientation. Jainism philosophy is only this, right? I just have to give you now some different dimensions. Otherwise, crux of philosophy has come. If somebody asks what is Jainism philosophy, then you should say in half line, that is Jainism philosophy is realistic and relativistic pluralism. If somebody asks you what is Jainism philosophy, then you should say that Jainism philosophy is realistic and relativistic pluralism. Correct? Reality is plural. Plural means many. Reality is manifolded. Realistic pluralism. Reality is manifolded. This philosophy is known as Anekantvad. Isn't it? But this manifolded reality is relative. This philosophy is known as Syadvad. So look, Anekantvad and Syadvad are not two different philosophies. Rather, they are the two aspects of one philosophy, and that is realistic and relativistic pluralism. Isn't it? Just as a coin has two sides, just as a coin has two faces, in the same way, Jainism philosophy of realistic and relativistic pluralism has two sides. One is Anekantvad, another is Syadvad. Anekantvad represents the metaphysical side of this philosophy. It represents metaphysical aspect. Because a thing has infinite characters, we can only think, isn't it? So it goes into metaphysics. And Syadvad represents then, because Syadvad, what was Syadvad? Theory of relativity of knowledge. And knowledge issue is known as epistemology. So we can very well say that Syadvad represents the epistemological and logical side of Jainism philosophy. Is that clear? Jainism philosophy is only one, that is realistic, relativistic pluralism. Its metaphysical side is Anekantvad, and its logical and epistemological side is Syadvad. Fine. What Anekantvad says, that a thing which is known as, till now we have been using a thing, and we have been using what? Innumerable material, atoms and individual souls, right? Now we refer that a thing is dravya. This is dravya, right? And what Anekantvad says, that a dravya has how many characters? Infinite characters. It has infinite characters. This is Anekantvad. This is what we had studied. There are innumerable material atoms and innumerable individual souls. These individual souls and material atoms, they have given one term, dravya. We will take up dravya separately. Again we will take up. Separate question comes on dravya. Right? So, dravya is that reality. And it has got infinite characters. These infinite characters are broadly of two types. One set of characters are attributes. Or you can say gunas. And these attributes are, these characteristics are permanent, essential, and non-changing. And another set of characters is known as moods, which are known as paryay. And these are just opposite to that, that is impermanent, non-essential, and changing. Are you getting? If this thing has got infinite characters,
So both soul and atoms have got these two properties, or
all
of them?
Dravya includes everything. So, this has got infinite characters, or take me. This Dravya, me, have got infinite characters. And these infinite characteristics are broadly of two types, gunas and paryay. That is attributes and modes. Attributes are permanent, essential, non-changing. And modes, paryay, are changing, non-essential, impermanent. Right? Now look, Syadva says, what Syadva says? Theory of relativity of knowledge. Out of these infinite characters, I can know only few from particular point of view. So, when you see me from attributes point of view, when you see me from gunas point of view, then you say, sir, you are not changing at all. You are permanent. There is no change in you. But at the same time, you again see me, same thing, same me from mode's point of view. Then you say, sir, you are continuously changing. You are not same. All the moment you are changing. Isn't it? How? When you see me from attribute, gunas point of view, then you say that I am permanent, essential, non-changing. For example,
Physical characteristics.
yes, not physical characteristics. Physical characteristics is not same. After 10 years, 15 years, when you will meet me, then you will find some changes in me.
Like height and
That's fine. Even height gets changed. After 40, 50 years, I'll somewhat bored.
Attributes and modes are both or
Yeah, you're very near. You're very near, right? When you see me from attributes point of view, there is something in me which is not changing. 20 years, 30 years back, and 20 years, 30 years down the lane, that will be same. From that point of view, I'm not changing. Yes, you are right. That is consciousness. I'm not changing. Isn't it? But once you see me alone, this person, same person, from the mode's point of view, then you say you are continuously changing. For example, our body positions, okay. What else? Psychological feeling. Love, pain, hate, cold, joy. So many thoughts are coming right now. You are also having. Isn't it? Innumerable, infinite thoughts are coming. We are able to catch only few. They come and they go. So we are continuously changing now. While talking to you, sometimes I have feel of joy. Sometimes I become tense. Sometimes I become worried. Sometimes I become lethargic. ये चल रहा है अभी. So when you see me from that mode's point of view, I am continuously changing. Reality is infinitely complex.
Sir,
Yeah.
but after that, our soul will also
Where?
after death.
Fine. Consciousness to rahega hi na. It will again come.
But it will not with our body now.
So body is changing. You are right. You are perfectly right. No problem. वो तो हम कह रहे हैं. Body changing. Is soul changing? The consciousness is not changing, no? Then only it come again. Fine. Okay. It's a bit technical. I'll come, step by step, because there is something called degree of consciousness also. I'll come all this with this. I cannot answer. Let me, first finish it up, and then if anything remains, then we will have discussion.
Sir,
Because all your questions will be answered during discussion only.
so when we say a person is like a good person or bad person, then can we say like he's a good soul or bad soul?
Fine, in generally we can say, but good soul, bad soul, actual but technical from point of view it is not. Right? Because from the true nature, from the ultimate point of view, each soul is pure, good. Did you attend earlier 2 classes? So that inherent nature of soul, वो तो good है ना, मेरा inherent nature तो वो है ना, ये जो अभी देख रहे हैं, ये inherent nature थोड़ी है मेरा. This is not me. ये तो I am right now afflicted with ignorance. You are seeing me as a concealed. Actually I am something like pure, perfect. Everybody is like that. ठीक है ना? लेकिन common way में जो हम बोलते हैं, ठीक है, it's fine, but technically we can't. Soul as such is not good enough. Yes. Means infinite characters we can know only few. No? This is Yadva.
Sir, so the attribute part.
We are moving very systematically. There is no confusion. A thing has infinite characters, but ordinary person like me can know only few characters. That theory is known as. So this is how we have it. No confusion at all. Right? We can know only few out of these characters from particular point of view. Syadvad and Anekantvad are not two different philosophies. They are part and parcel of same one philosophy only. If question comes, and we will discuss all these things, questions and answers and all that. But here also I can specify, if question comes on Anekantvad, you can't discuss Anekantvad without Syadvad. Why? Because we have already specified logical aspect of that is only there. Once you say that a thing has infinite characters, so don't you think that you need to tell, so bhaiya, out of these infinite characters, I can only few. So Syadvad.
Sir, can we have some gunas for non-living entity also? Or is it for living entity?
Non-living characters. I think we have included atoms. Hello? We have already said atoms.
So all souls are perfect, and perfection can be only one type.
Fine.
All souls are same. Like only the characters change when people will come.
Of course, that will come. Once we reach over there, then we are same. It is just like that. Once you are selected and you all become proper eyes, then your pay scale would be same. No? There is no difference. Will there be? No. So once we are liberated, if we all are liberated, will there be any difference in us? If that difference is there,
Then it is not absolute.
then the problem is. Okay. All your questions will be answered, no issues. But most of the time it happens, 99% cases are there. Whatever you ask, that is actually going to be answered in due course of time. Initially it is 1 or 2 classes, no problem, you have freedom. But let me first finish it. This chapter, the school only, I have over. And whatever your doubts are coming, you just keep on writing somewhere. All relevant questions will be answered during this discussion. Still, if something is left out, you are most welcome. Relevant questions will be answered. Okay? Fine. So, is this concept clear? A thing has infinite characters. Its characteristics are of two types, gunas and parya. Now, once this is over and once we have correlated that out of these infinite characters we can know only few, and thereby we have said it is syadvad, and this is how our relativity of knowledge is there. Now, Jainas have said, we have already discussed that all our judgments should be qualified by the word syad. It should be qualified by the syad because, again repeat, we cannot say anything absolutely because this world is infinitely complex. This world seems to be one, at the same time many. This world seems to be changing, at the same time it seems to be permanent. World is world, but within world we are seeing so many changes. Isn't it? So, this is how they emphasize on the relativity of knowledge. Now they say that once if we use the word syad, then a thing can be interpreted into 7 ways. Or we can have 7-folded judgment. I repeat, when we use the word syad to any judgment, then that judgment would be interpreted in 7 ways. Why 7? I mean, they have said 7. So we will have to accept 7. And this is where it leads to theory of 7-folded judgment. 7-folded judgment. This 7-folded judgment is known as Saptabhangi. Saptabhangi. That is theory of 7-folded judgment. Fine. How? What are these 7 ways? One is syad, asti. That is, it means, syad means relatively speaking. Asti means a thing is real or exists. Syad, spot is in the room. Right? Second, syad, nasti. Relatively, a pot is not outside the room. Isn't it? Or relatively, a pot is not black. Relatively, a thing is unreal. Different point of views are coming. Third, syad, asti, nasti. दोनों स्टेटमेंट बोल दी. syad, a thing is real and unreal. Syad, a thing is existent and non-existent. What does it mean? Syad, pot is in the room and is not red. उसके कलर की भी तो बात कर सकता हूँ. Getting my point? syad asti, nasti. Fourth, if somebody asks, what is the color of this pot? If somebody asks me, what is the color of this pot? I'm confused. What to say? Because earlier, when this pot was clay, it was brown. When I made and baked, then it became black. Then more baking, red hot, then it had become red. Then somebody had painted yellow. Then after some time faded to yellow, black, red mixed up and then fading to brownish. Are you understanding? In this condition, now somebody asks, here, what is the color of this spot? What should I say? क्या बोलूं? I got stock up. क्योंकि इसका कलर तो ये चेंज होता जा रहा है. मुझे क्या पता after 2 days and 2 months and 2 years what will be its color? And till now, even right now, I am not able to say. Then I say, relatively, it is indescribable. I cannot describe such phenomena. Relatively, yeah, it is avyaktam. Avyaktam. Avyakta. Avyakta means indescribable. Relatively, a thing is indescribable.
Sir, but we can describe the current.
Yeah?
We can describe the current current state.
Current though I have, I think, described over here. I can't repeat because it's a separate step. Isn't it? So, and person who is asking me, he is asking me that what is the exact permanent color of this spot. He is asking, अरे सर कलर क्या है? एक बता. एक कैसे बता दो यार? एक नहीं बता सकता ना. A color which should be permanent. I can't tell. And hence I say indescribable. In philosophy, we will see that this avyaktam, this aspect has got a philosophical importance. It has got philosophical importance. As we move on, we will see its more application. And as far as here is concerned, you can have short notes. What is the philosophical importance of avyaktam in Jainism? A short question, 10-marker question you can have. What is the importance? Through this avyaktam, these people want to say that all the things cannot be answered in affirmative and negative. They want to say that all the things cannot be answered in either yes or no. Why? Because the reality is too complex. Sometimes we got stuck up in a situation where we say indescribable. I can't say yes nor no. And then I say indescribable. Is that fine? This is how the philosophical wisdom is.
So isn't it more dependent on the way the question is asked than philosophical point?
Fine, let us see. If question is changing, then we will change our answer. Let us see what question is coming.
Sir, Syat, Asti and Nasti are yes and no together for a single judgment, or they are for different judgments?
I have used first Syat Asti Nasti, Syat what is in the room and it is not black.
So regarding different attributes of the same thing?
You say no. Once I am taking existence of pot and in another I am talking of color of the pot. Because Syat Asti Nasti seems to be contradictory, conflicting. How can a thing can be real and non-real? But they are saying from different point of view. So hence no contradiction. Is that fine? So we have Syat Asti, Nasti, Asti Nasti and Syat Avyaktam. Rest of the judgments, 5th, 6th and 7th are basically combination of first 3 with the 4th. That is Syat Asti Avyaktam, Syat Asti Nasti Avyaktam and Yeah? Sorry, I mixed it up. Syat nasti avyaktam and asti nasti avyaktam. First three have been combined with the fourth. So fifth becomes Syat asti avyaktam. Sixth becomes Syat nasti avyaktam. And seventh becomes Syat asti nasti avyaktam. Is that fine? This is known as theory of seven-folded judgment. Saptabhangine. Ne means partial, seven-folded judgment, seven partial views. That means we are saying it that reality is what? Many. Isn't it? It is leading to doctrine of plurality of truth or reality. Because it is more than one no. A thing can be interpreted in seven ways. So we have many-folded reality. This is plurality of truth. This is what? It is logically leading to what? Anekantvad. Isn't it? So we started with Anekantvad, we moved to Syatvad, we moved to Saptabhangine, and again came back to Anekantvad. This is how it is pointed. Anekantvad, Syatvad and Saptabhangine are not different philosophies. They are part and parcel and the different aspect of one Jainism, one philosophy that is known as realistic and relativistic pluralism. Saptabhangine, or you say Saptabhangine is nothing but Syadvad, no. Saptabhangine is nothing but the Syadvad. What was Syadvad? Theory of relativity of knowledge. So is it not theory of relativity of knowledge? In every judgment we have already used Syad. So in some books it is said Syadvad or Saptabhangine. Getting my point? Because this is also Syadvad, no. But within Syadvad, what is the difference then? Here we are saying seven point of view, seven-folded judgment. Is that fine? This is your Jainism philosophy. Realistic, relativistic pluralism. Its metaphysical side is Anekantva. Don't hesitate in repeating. If you say these words, that will give you confidence. Yes, you can utter these words. Right? So, repeat. Metaphysical side is Anekantva. Logical and epistemological side is Syadvad. So, all my judgments should be qualified by Syad. How many types of characters are there? Characters. Two. These are Gunas and Paryar. Isn't it? This is how theory of relativity of knowledge. When we use word Syad, we get how many judgments? Seven. That theory is known as Saptabhangine. And Saptabhangine logically leading to Anekantva. 8 points. Repeatedly we will see question is asked only on this. The only issue which you need to remember is the correlation. Where the majority of candidates do, problem, question is on Saptabhangine, they write Saptabhangine only. They don't correlate with Anekantva. Perhaps you might be thinking right now that everybody will write. But aisa hota nahi. I have not seen two answers same. Right? And you will also see, you can check it out whenever I will take test. No two answers would be same. So, one candidate is getting 8 out of 10, another might get 8. I mean, that is a different issue. But content same nahi hoga. So, forget about that aspect. You just work on yourself. You just work on your conceptual understanding. And once conceptual understanding is there, then keep on revising. Revision is the solution for enlightenment. There is no other source. This exam is all about revision. Your paper is really lengthy, not only philosophy, other GS and papers are also. And paper which are, the kind of paper which are coming is that, especially optional subject, that you don't have to think and write. You have to write, and after an exam then you think. But not during that 3 hours. If you think, you are gone. You will be missing 1 or 2 questions. How it is possible? Yes, you will come to know that. Right? Now, let us come to the next issue. Why my knowledge is partial? Question arises this. Yeah, it's very simple, because I am afflicted with ignorance. Now, we want to know what exactly happens. What exactly happens when I am afflicted with ignorance? Hua kya? What happened? Why? What actual role is played by ignorance, and I am failing to have complete knowledge? So they will give, in a way, justification for Syatva. And they will justify with one very good example. We will see that. First you let us take down some points and then we will proceed. My approach would be, as we have been saying, I am discussing, comprehensively we will discuss. I will revise within here, and all my lectures will start with 10 minutes revision, recap. I mean, I have become habitual of that. Right? So whatever we will be discussing in the previous lecture, we will recall that. One thing. Second thing, I'll give you synopsis. I won't dictate complete thing, because complete dictation, jotting down is wastage of time. But still I'll give you synopsis from these booklets only. 1 page, 1.5 page. Important points I'll give. I feel that has its own utility. Whatever I am discussing, you are hearing, and whatever I am writing and whatever I am saying, you are jotting down also. This is the first layer. Right? Then I dictate synopsis. So while writing, you again recall and correlate those concepts. That concept and these terminologies pass through your hand. This is second layer. And this, after getting synopsis, it will become easy to read these booklets, because familiarity will be very high. So I feel by doing this process, 60% of your job is done in the class. We can have liberty of this, whatever I am doing, because syllabus is very short. Otherwise, if I don't do like this, I think I can finish in very comfortably in 30 days. Right? But we want to do all this simultaneous work so that your workload is reduced to the minimum level. So at home, you just have to go through these 4 or 5 pages, and all those 4 or 5 pages will be familiar. You don't have to go beyond this booklet. First, we will read, digest, write answers, and as I told you, once you are thorough and read it 5, 6, 7, 8 times, then you please, if you intend to read a book, come to me, I'll suggest you. Fine. All questions, 100% questions have come from this booklet. My morning batch had started on 16th December and exam was on 23rd December. In that batch I said, now exam is there, but no question will come beyond this. It was too risky statement actually. Right? And I said, but I was in, sleepless nights, yaar bol to diya class mein ki nothing will come out of this. What if it comes? It will be very difficult to justify. But it was God saving, and 100% things had come. In future also I am telling you, nothing will come beyond this. I stand on this. And if anything comes beyond this, then nobody will be able to do it. That you can feel assured. And competition will be nullified by that. Then competition does not lie there. If nobody has done that question, so where is the competition then? But if common questions come and you are not able to write, you have lost. बड़ी सिंपल सी चीजें हैं यार, बहुत ही सरल तरीके से है. टेक इट सिंपल, लाइफ इज वेरी सिंपल एंड अंडरस्टैंड इट. समझदारी वाली बात एक ही बार में समझी जाती है. This exam is all about revisions and writing practice, nothing else apart from it. Revision is the, practice. Again I am saying, keep on revising, you will have it. I hope I am right, Vivek. This is all. ठीक है? Now let us take down. Give heading Jainism. Jainism philosophy is realistic and relativistic pluralism. Realistic and relativistic pluralism. It has two aspects. First is metaphysical side. That is anekantvad. According to it, there are innumerable material atoms and innumerable individual souls. And innumerable individual souls. That is, there are infinite dravyas. Each dravya has infinite characteristics. Each dravya has infinite characteristics. These characteristics are broadly two types. That is, attributes, right in bracket, gunas, and modes, right in bracket, paryaya. Second is logical and epistemological side. Logical and epistemological side is syadvad. That is, theory of relativity of knowledge. Theory of relativity of knowledge. That is, ordinary beings like us, ordinary beings like us can know only few characters from particular point of view. From particular point of view. Hence, all our judgments are partial, relative, conditional, and limited. Limited. Next point, new point. Partial knowledge is known as ne. Next point. Since all our judgments, since all our judgments are relative, and partial. All our statements should be qualified by the word sya. All our judgments should be qualified by the word sya. That is, relatively speaking. That is, relatively speaking. Next point. Jainas explain Anekantvad and Syadvad. Jainas explain Anekantvad and Syadvad with the help of an example of elephant and blind. Next point. We can know an object in three ways. We can know an object in three ways. First, durniti, that is bad judgment. That is absolute assertion. Second, nay, that is a mere statement of relative truth. And third, prama, that is valid judgment. Next point, new point. Nay, in order to become prama, must be qualified by sya. Must be qualified by sya. Next point.
By the word sya.
Yeah, by the word sya. Next point. By using sya, we get 7 forms of judgment. We get 7 forms of judgment known as Saptabhangine. Such as, you can leave a space for these 7 judgments, or you will find in the notes. Next point, new point. Saptabhangine logically leads to the doctrine of manyness of reality. Doctrine of manyness of reality. Next point. It should be noted that Jainas' philosophical system is not skeptic. In fact, there is no room for skepticism. It It is not the uncertainty of a judgment. It is not the uncertainty of a judgment. It is merely expressing. It is merely expressing conditional or relative character. Conditional or relative character. Now let us see some more issues. As we have seen, now they want to justify Syadvad. And Syadvad is saying that all our judgments are partial, conditional, finite, limited. We are afflicted with ignorance. As we have raised question here, if we are afflicted with ignorance, then what exactly thing is going on? To explain this, they give one very good example. An example is, suppose this is a glass, right? We clean it daily. And since we clean it daily, transparency and visibility, clarity is 100%. What is on the other side, we can clearly see, completely. There is no obstruction. Right? This glass is clean. What happens, tell me, if I don't clean it for 5 days? Dirt, dust particles stick to it. If dust particles stick to it, what happens to my clarity and visibility? It reduces. What happens after 1 month? It is more covered and my visibility is further reduced. After 6 months, 1 year, it is completely covered with dust particles. And now, in this situation, my visibility and clarity, transparency is either absent completely or I have very low. Now anybody, whatever is behind that, on the other side, can I see it clearly? No, I have only very shady, shadow, vagueness. Are you getting my point? Either I won't see anything, completely obstructed, or if I am able to see, then I see very hazy and vague picture like. Is that clear? In the same way, my soul, Atma, here they have used word for Atma as Jeev. Jeev or Atma. Similarly, my Jeev, Atma, originally, its true nature was pure, perfect, complete. It was completely, absolutely clean as this glass. It can see anything, everything through and through. There was no obstruction at all. Then, what happened? This soul became afflicted with, come under the influence of ignorance. And out of ignorance, some passions developed in my soul. And motivated by the passions, then I will do action. And action leads to fruits. And these fruits are like dust particles. And they stick to my jeev. Just as dust particles were sticking to glass. More I do karma, more fruits. More fruits means more accumulation to jeev. And now you can see, as my visibility declined with this glass, but this jeev, its power of having knowledge will reduce. Are you getting? And now once it is completely covered with the fruits, dust particles, or you can say karmic particles, then either this knowledge is completely absent or it will have very vague and hazy picture. It cannot have complete knowledge. Why? Because hindrance, obstacle is provided by fruits particles. Just as on the glass, what was the hindrance and obstacle? The dust particle. No. Here, not dust particle as such, but again particle also. Which particle? Corny particle. And for the sake of understanding, you can say fruits. I was saying that bag, yesterday I had referred, that bag which is completely, progressively filled with fruits. That bag is not there in fact. That bag sticks to my jeev. Are you getting? Apple, pineapple, cherries, berries. ये सारे कहाँ हैं? जीव पे चिपके हुए. And these fruits are putting hindrance to me in attaining complete knowledge. And hence my knowledge is partial. In this this glass which is completely covered with the dust, if anybody is standing, I'll say probably, might be, maybe somebody is there. It means my knowledge is complete. In the same way we do this. Elephant is like pillar, but hindrance is there. What I need to do for this glass to regain its true status, complete, clean status? क्या करूँ इस glass का? Yeah? No, glass का. I have to clean. How? How to clean? I'll take duster and call in. Ragada. Since it is 1 year, 2 year, 5 year accumulation, depending upon that, it will take a lot of time to remove that dust. And as dust particles begins to remove, this glass slowly and gradually will regain its visibility. And when last dust particle is removed, then this glass again becomes transparent and it can be seen through and through. In the same way, if I want to have complete knowledge, I need to remove. And as these fruits are removed, my knowledge will be increasing. And when the last fruit is removed, then the soul will become pure and it will regain. Some words are there where I emphasize a lot. These words are philosophically important, right? Even otherwise you will use it, but you should understand from the very beginning that these words are important. I am using word is a technical word. When last fruit, that particle is removed, then soul regains. Regain means, अरे मैं तो पहले से ऐसा हूँ. I am already like pure. So I regain my true status. And thereby I will be attaining enlightenment, moksha, or in Jainas we will be using a different term, that is Kaivalya Jnana. And at that point of time, will there be Syadvad? फिर Syadvad क्या करें? फिर Syadvad की गुंजाइश ही नहीं. There is no place for Syadvad. I will have Kaivalya Jnana. And that is perfect. You can celebrate. How to remove? This will be yet to come. We just started Jainism. So they will let out, because ultimate purpose is to have liberation. Isn't it? So they will let down. So these fruits are sticked to Jiva. Can you see these fruits? Can you see these fruits? But I can see fruits very clearly. Apple, pineapple, and all these things are clearly seen. And I am sure tomorrow you will also see. It's a very common and very simple concept. You don't think here what will happen tomorrow. It is not like that. It's just conceptual thing. But we will be seeing. Is that fine? This is how Jainas justify what? Syadvad. What was Syadvad? Theory of relativity of knowledge. इसलिए relative है because these particles put a hindrance to me in attaining complete knowledge. Is that fine? Yeah. We want to
attain complete knowledge, or we talk about pure thought. Isn't it we are making bad judgments here? So because we cannot talk about something absolute, right? Isn't it basically the
But in that way, once we reach to that level, then the Syadvad is not there. So some partially you are right. But I cannot, defend you. Because that will create more problems to you. Isn't it? The thing is, what you are saying, I can just defend partially that all these Durniti and all these things will be applicable only as long as I am afflicted with ignorance and I am Syadva. Once that has gone, so फिर तो वही complete knowledge ही होगी. Isn't it? But we will further extend your statement later on. Once I finish and once I come to it another time, I'll come to that again. Not confused. It's a state where you have complete knowledge. It's a state. No, I can't. We can't. End of knowledge means it has lot of meaning. End of knowledge means, climax of knowledge means. It's a state where I have the complete knowledge. Make it simple. Keep it simple. End of knowledge means what? What do you mean by end of knowledge? Complete knowledge हो गया. It's better to say complete knowledge. And if you, I can't even say climax of knowledge. No, that is not appropriate terminology. Right? Perfect, complete, absolute. Only these terminologies are applicable what we want to say. Otherwise, what you are saying, that will be, only you will be understanding. It might create confusion for others. Hence, we won't be using such, these people don't use such terminology. Right? Okay. Just write one more thing and then we will wind up. Give a small heading, justification for Syadvad. According to Jainas, Jeev becomes afflicted with beginningless ignorance. Becomes afflicted with beginningless ignorance. And consequently becomes vulnerable to passion. Consequently becomes vulnerable to passion. These passions attract the flow of karmic particles. Attract the flow of karmic particles which stick. Karmic particles which stick to the jeev. These karmic particles causes hindrance in attaining complete knowledge. Hence, all our knowledge is finite, conditional, and relative. The same aspect we will further later on elaborate, because here lies the liberation. So we will deal liberation separately. We will deal Dravya separately. So tomorrow we would be discussing all these issues. But I think majority of the portion of Jainas have already come. I just need to tell you bondage, liberation and all that. So effectively tomorrow this school will be over. Fine. Your biggest challenge will be to move along with the class. After 2, 3, 4 days, we would be finishing one more school. Because these schools and syllabus and topics are really short, as I told you earlier. If you don't move along with the class, then many problems might come. Right? So just try to move. At home, you are just required to devote hardly, initially only 40-45 minutes, later on 1 hour, or at the max 1.5 hour, half hour. So please read it. While reading this chapter, you might come across some terminologies, right? Some philosophies. Leave those because you won't understand them right now. These terminologies are referring to Western philosophy. In some way right up, they are compared with the Western philosophy also. So leave it for the time being. Later on, you will automatically understand once we do Western. You have something? Yeah. Soul or Atma. In Jainas, they have used terminology for Atma as Jeev. That's it. Okay?
If we consider Dravya, whole human being can be considered as Dravya?
Let me first discuss Dravya, because Dravya I have not discussed. Just I have referred to it. I have yet to discuss Dravya. Okay? Chaliye then, thank you. Tomorrow see you same time. We'll continue.